Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Baldwin 5510 TSTR strike in a 150 finish. I have one removed from the packaging here and we can take a closer look at it. Yes, this video is about a strike plate, but nonetheless it's nice to be able to see exactly what it is, be able to know the dimensional properties and a little bit of where and why you're going to use this. So this is a 5510, which means it's a strike. It's 150, which means satin nickel, and then it's a TSTR, which means it's a T strike. If you use your imagination, you can see why it's called a T strike. Okay, let's go over some basic dimensional properties. Overall height of a T strike is 2 3/4 inch. 2 3/4. The overall width is about 1 7/8 inches, but that's not what's important. What's important is the lip length, which is measured from the center of the screw hole to the edge of the lip, and strikes are generally about 1 1/4 inches, and that looks like what this is. Okay, has a neat little return here, and this has a raised area to it, and what's happening with that is that design is going to allow for smoother action, smoother ability of that latch bolt to be able to be pulled out against the inside of the strike. Most manufacturers of hardware don't have this feature to that, but it absolutely will give you smoother operation and more secure operation in the sense that you've got a lot of surface area of the inside of the flat part of that latch bolt making contact with the strike. So it's a neat feature that Baldwin has on their strikes. This is going to include a dust box. If you don't know what that is, well, it's meant to be installed just like that. So here's a hole. You can stick your finger in that hole. What do you want to see back here? Do you want to see chopped up studs, particulate of the drywall? Do you want to see the interior of the wall construction, possibly the inside of the frame? Or do you want to dress that off really nice? Well, the latter is the answer that we're looking for. That dresses it off really nice. The problem with the dust box is that the owner wants it, the specifier wants it, the architect wants it, but the wood frame supplier didn't mortise deep enough for it or properly for it, or the installer's just getting in there with a hammer and chisel and he breaks the back of the frame. You want to have your wood frames, your pre-hungs, whatever you're doing, prepped to accommodate the dust box. You want to not only make that aesthetically more pleasing so that you're just seeing the inside of that cup, but you're not allowing the particulate of the wall, the interior of your home or wherever it's installed, your commercial space, to seep into your breathing space. Keep all that stuff where it belongs. A couple of screws. These look like they're probably a number 6 by maybe 3/4 flat undercut head. It's an undercut head. If you look at the feature here, the thickness of that flat head is not like this. It's like this. So the flathead nature is thinner than it would be otherwise. That allows it to sit flush to something that's quite thin, which is this. This is probably, 60 thousandths. Well, let's see how close I am. I don't know how thick it is, but I'm going to go with 60 thousandths. Oh, the kit is good. 0.063. 0.063. I suppose if you look at enough kick plates and hardware and whatnot, you can guess pretty well. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at all of the supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are looking at. Not much to see here except it's a T-strike standard round lip. It's a curved lip. I would call it a curved lip with dust box. Let's take a look at some images that we have. Curved lip. That's important. That's typical. Makes, there are straight lip strikes as well. Makes a more graceful way for your latch bolt to make contact with the strike. The underside of the unit, kind of giving an idea of what I was mentioning earlier. The dust box, and then again, and then your 2 screws. Now, there is a link below this video, as seen here, to the manufacturer's page. And when you click on that, you can pull up not only all of the Baldwin products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to these several and many product catalogs. Let's first take a trip down memory lane. There was a 1976 Baldwin catalog here. That's a lot of fun. I have other old ones that we are in the process of scanning now. You wanted to see, if you would like to see what they were making almost 50 years ago, here it is. It's really amazing that it's not changed very much. Mortise locks, trim, knobs, roses. You don't see many levers, though. In fact, you don't see any. Levers are fun. Knobs are timeless. I mean, this square Manhattan knob, they may still make that. This Plymouth style, that is absolutely still made. I call it a Lexington here. I kind of know it more as a Plymouth. These rim locks, I believe, still make them. I don't know that they make this one with the drop D. This D handle is actually trim. This is most certainly going to be 18th century sort of, probably more, yeah, 18th century, I would say. 19th century, you'd see this sort of trim. Probably early, mid 19th century, you would see this trim, etc. Baldwin still makes extremely high quality material. Now, there's a catalog that I like. It's the Baldwin Estate Specifications and Price List. This is an old document. It's a price list. It's way out of date, but I use it because it's a throwback to an older version of the Baldwin catalog before PDFs, and I just am familiar with it. I know where to find everything. So what I've done is a Control F for a find function for 5510. I'm basically clicking through the catalog to where I can find the 5510. Well, the 5510 000 is the dust box. Here we go. 5510. So 5510 is a strike. And then we've got a TSTR, a T-strike. ASTR. Extended lip strikes are here. FSTR, full lip strike plate. But we're dealing with the 5510 TSTR. Shows you all the finishes that it was offered in 10 years ago. Certainly different nowadays. But I like this book because that T-strike has not changed, not only in the last 10 years, but in the last 50 years. It's the same T-strike. Why would you use a T-strike? Well, let's wrap up this video on camera and we'll talk about that. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So in residential applications, I would think back in the 60s, there were only T-strikes. There were no full lip strikes. If you were doing a keyed function mortise lock, you would have to have a taller strike. A 2 3/4 T-strike is not going to work. It's not large enough. What I mean is, the latch will work at a 2 3/4 tall strike, but when you add the deadbolt, that's why they got to stretch that strike out to 4 7/8 so that you could fit everything into the strike plate. But assuming that you don't have deadbolt functions on the inside of a project, T-strike is it. At some point, the full lip strike, or what we call the D-strike, came to life. It's always been around in the last 30 years that I've been in the industry, but it is most certainly something not unlike radiused corner hinges. Why do I say that? Well, imagine how you're going to prep for that T-strike. You've got to do a couple of, there's more work to do that. There's more work. You've got to have a fixture. With that full lip strike, you're done. Or with a radiused corner hinge, you can route that, and you don't have to go back and square those corners. So I think the birth of the full lip or D-strike is such that it's just easier on the mill worker, on the door supplier, you can get away with less work. There are no radiused corner T-strikes, so that's evidence of why I feel that way. A T-strike you're also going to see in hollow metal frames. You could have 1970 mid-rise condo construction where it's all steel frames, thin walls, like 3.5-inch thick walls, a weird height like 7'4", 1 3/8 hollow core or solid core wood doors, 3.5-inch hinges, passage and privacy sets with T-strikes prepped in the steel frames. I don't think I've ever seen a full lip strike prepped in a hollow metal frame, but T-strikes absolutely. You'll definitely see those all the time in those types of applications. So, if you have any questions on Baldwin or anything Baldwin related, please feel free to reach out to us. The path or the journey of learning Baldwin is a path and journey riddled with uneven surfaces. There's going to be boulders, rocks, other hazards, because their hardware, everything has to be detailed. But when you start to acclimate, you're accustomed to understanding, I need the mortise lock body. I need that part number and all the options that go with it. I need to make sure that it comes with an armor front. I need the cylinder. I need the thumb turn, possibly. I need the strike. Okay? You're going to need the spindle and the ancillary pieces that go with that, but that would be included. But now you've got to think about, what is the lever or knob? What is the rose? All those items have to be detailed. If you're doing a passage set, there are literally 4 part numbers for a passage set. Even though Baldwin, you can use one part number and get it all. But a passage set is going to include the knob or lever, the rosette, the latch bolt, and the strike plate. You have to tell them all 4 of those. The downside is you need a catalog like that older version that I just showed you, because you can kind of scroll through it and say, oh yeah, I need that part. The upside is that once you get used to it, you know to do it. And the upside is that you can get all of these different options thrown in. So a part number is going to be rose by lever by latch by strike. You use those part, then finish and hand if you need it. And then you've got everything detailed. No confusion. And this would be one of the part numbers. I would probably, you could probably call it out as TSTR if all of them are 5510, but I would call it out as a 5510.finish.tstr in my long part number is what I would end up doing. Those extended lip strikes there, this is, as I had mentioned, 1.25 inches. It's important to know that. You might need a longer lip length, and all of those are referenced from that center line of the screw hole to the edge of the lip. Why? You might have thicker casing, or your door might be inset further than standard. Anyway, food for thought. Any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you. Thanks to our clients, Architectural Builder Supply is building an additional facility, and what follows is not only a look at the acreage that we're building the facility on, but also first the architectural renderings as they exist, or at least the architectural plans as they exist at this time. Thank you very much. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at the architecturals as they exist at this moment, or at least it wouldn't be proper to call these architecturals, but it would be proper to call them renderings in the sense of they're conceptual drawings, they're not renderings. So the entire space is going to look like this in terms of a site rendering. This will be a 22,000 square foot building, of which will have specific purpose areas. There'll be a workshop down here. This is a few thousand square feet that will be likely woodworking, metalworking, CNC, things of that nature. This will be an office area here, a private office area. This will be architectural builders supply expanded storage area where we will be able to do fulfillment. The entire space in the center is going to be all of the volume, as I call it. Large components will be able to be stored and stocked there. Machinery that's too large to fit otherwise may be put out here. Specific facility rooms, and then some recreation over here. Let's take a look at that drone footage, and thank you very much for taking a look.